inhabitants of YouTube land, and welcome back to another episode of Solos for Beginners. 10 episodes in which I dedicate my time to help setting you on your way to find the elaborate world of solification? English. In today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the mighty and massive solo from Nothing Else Matters, the much-loved song by, of course, Metallica. If you're a beginner soloist, and given the title of this YouTube video, you very well may be, this solo can be a bit more of a challenge. It's a bit more of a handful, a few little things that you may never have done before. But, to make it easier, we're going to tackle it in 4 individual parts. Part 1 being... So first up here is a nice multi-string bend, where we're going to have our pinky finger on the 15th fret of the G string, and our ring finger on the 14th fret of the G string. But you're going to bend up only your ring finger. So multi-string bends might be a little bit weird and difficult if you've never done them before, but trust me, this is a tool that you definitely want to have in your arsenal. And you're going to do that twice, returning back down that 14 and pulling off to the 12. Then we're going to hit the 14 and pull off down the line, hammering on to the 12 at the end. So we're going to pull off 14, 12, 11, then hammer on to 12, pulling off back to 11. And then with our ring finger to the 14 on the D string, then back to the 11, and with your middle finger, oh so rude, to the 12 on the D string, and then ring finger to the 14, which is going to look like... A lot of James Hetfield's phrasing in the solo is oddly baroque. It's got a jaunty little jester rhythm to it. So let's go through part 1 slowly and with some tabs. Starting off section 2, we're just going to go 12, 14, 12 on the G string. Nothing special there. But this next part we're going to have to get ourselves in position, being our forefinger barred across the 12th fret on both the E string and the B string. And then with either our ring or middle finger, whichever you choose, we're going to hit the 14th fret of the G string, bending it up, just letting it go, and then raking down. All downstrokes on that part, just 2 downstrokes, 12, 12, B and E. You'll actually see this kind of a lick in a lot of old rock and roll, like your Chuck Berry's kind of thing. Just like the multi-string bends, these can be a bit weird if you've never done them before, but make sure that you just go slowly, make sure that you're getting the exact right note sounded out. You don't want any thudded out notes or harmonics. Once you get the hang of that, do that twice. And then we're going to hit this one, which is going to be 15 pulled off to 12, 15 on the G string, 12 on the B string, then 15, 14 on the G string. Hammering on from the 14 to the 15, pulling off down the line to the 12. And then we're going to bar our ring finger across both the E and G strings on the 14th fret, and we're going to hit this little bluesy number, which is just 14, 14 pull off to 13, 12. Brilliant work so far. Let's go through that whole part again, but with some tabs. Part 3 of this solo. Going into the third part of this solo, we are hitting a crescendo, climbing the mountain and screaming off the cliff, or whatever metal solos want you to do. We're going to slide our middle finger all the way up to the 15th fret on the high E string, and then which is just going to be 15, 14 on the high E, ring finger up to the 16th fret on the G string, so make sure you do not hit that B string on the way. This little string skip can seem odd on your right hand if you've never done them before, but it's just a matter of being careful. And then back down to that same 15, 14. And then we've got this little lick to contend with, which is just 17, 15, 14, hammering on to 15, pulling off, 16, and then that original 15, 14, 16 again. Part 4. So for this fourth part of the solo, we're going back down to the blues box, starting off with 12, 14, 12 again on the G string, with that same multi-string bend from the start. Putting it down where it belongs with the 14, then pulling up to 12. So before we kick into this next lick, we're going to get ourselves into the familiar position of having our forefinger ready to bar across the 12th fret, and our either ring finger or middle finger, depending on what you like, still mobile. And so we're going to start off 12 on the D string, then down to 12 and 14 on the G, and then raking down, both downstrokes on the B then E. And see, we're already ergonomically in that position, so you shouldn't have too much worrying to do. And then once we finish that lick, get a nice good grip on the 15th fret of the B string. And so once we're done with that bend, we're going to go straight back down to the 12 on the B string, and then straight back to that bend. Just reassert power with that bend. And so once we're up at the crescendo of that bend, we're going to want to control the descent of it. (12, 15, 12), slide down. 5, 7, 5. Brilliant, wonderfully done everybody. Here we are at the end. So we're going to go through that whole solo again from the start, but slowly and with some tabs. With the bends in this solo, and also bends in general, it's a really good idea and just a good rule of thumb to always make sure that you can get a really good grip. Make sure that if you're going for a big one, you've even got 3 fingers behind it. This will help you control not only its ascent and its descent, but the amount of sustain. You will want to have that control, you really do. And as I said at the start, if you're new to soloing, this can be a bit more of a handful, but just take it slow. Thankfully, this is a solo that actually sounds quite good when it's slowed down. It's still big, it's still mighty, it still has the same effect. So relish in that a little bit. Don't be ashamed to go way back slower, and you know, play with a metronome. Find out the speed of the song, hit a metronome on that, and then just bring it down until you're starting to feel comfortable, and then slowly work your way up. You'll find your confidence grows a lot with this solo, because there's a lot of fun tricks, and it's a big sounding solo. There's a lot of reward in playing this. Brilliantly done everyone, I would call that a good day's work. And of course, make sure to like and subscribe and share and comment and click the little bell and stay tuned and do all that, all the things that every other YouTuber asks you to do. But you see, I'm different. I'm not like them. And knowing what I'm doing and acknowledging the fault in it, I'm thusly immune to criticism. See you next time everybody, and as always, enjoy.